Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is Steve Crane. This is episode 177.1. For those listening live, we are unfortunately still having some internet issues, so I apologize. We've tried everything we possibly can to get this right, so not sure if it's on StreamYard's part or ours, but it might be on the internet provider. I don't know, but hopefully it'll start clearing up. We've tried this over and over again. But show must go on. So we're a little late tonight, but we wanted to get going here. We got Nate Hale in the garage as well. And we have Adrian Schellebarger here. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Good. Pleasure having you on. Adrian brought a lot of gifts here. So Adrian is a friend of the shop. He's a friend of the show. He's a Patreon member, all that good stuff. He is a big supporter, and he brought on quite a smorgasbord of Redbreast whiskeys here tonight, and featuring the primo one that is really tough to find, which is going to be the Redbreast 27. So we're looking forward to trying that. Want to mention patreon.com/bourbon and BS podcast. You guys can be a part of this and help support it. And the last couple of weeks, we've actually had Patreon members on the show. So
that's good.
That always works out too. So you guys can be on the show as well if you are interested in doing that. So thank you, Adrian, and everyone else that's on the Patreon page. Also, thank you to Tinder Box at Easton and Columbus, Ohio. We are smoking the Oliva, Connecticut Reserve. And also thank you to Altadis USA. We've got the H. Upman Hispaniola for the second featured cigar, and also Cigar Company. Hopefully the golds will be in stock here soon in Columbus, Ohio at the Tinder Box at Easton. But we do have the silvers available now, so please bear with us on the golds, and hopefully people can hear us. I can't get the feed yet here, guys. What are the comments saying?
Ian says we're fuzzy.
Nothing yet.
Yeah, we're fuzzy on the video. Hopefully it'll clear up, kind of what we had last week, and we're going to be separating the second part as well. So, guys, stay tuned. I guess without further ado, since we are fuzzy, we're late. It's real professional here, as always.
Let's just start drinking.
We're going to start drinking. Adrian, you brought on, and we'll get into a little bit more about Adrian going forward here in the podcast, but let's get into the Redbreast here. And we have not lit up the Oliva Connecticut Reserve. We purposely went through, or we chose a milder cigar tonight from Oliva, kind of like what we did with Ann Dimmick from Watersheds. We have multiple bottles here. We're going to start with a fresh palate, the Redbreast 27, and then we're going to go kind of sample some other stuff, right? I mean, that's the plan.
Purposes, I think we said, we'd go with the creme de la creme. So
yeah, absolutely.
With the top, and then we'll work our way back from the bottom.
Perfect.
To 21. So
perfect.
21 is sort of the best. So even though 21's the best, and that's what everybody says is the best. 27's the biggest. But sorry, I'm kind of new to podcast. 27's like the the high year and everything, but 21 just is the best. So I think it's good to end on 21 and start on 27 just so we can
absolutely see
the differences.
Fantastic. Well, all right, let's we've got them in. So you did the pre-measure one because the 27. Let's go over this, and we'll go over a little bit about Redbreast to a point, but this is purely sampling some stuff. You guys, if you want to know all the history, I'm going to give a little shout out to a friend of the show, Barry Chandler. He is the man when it comes to Irish whiskeys. He has Stories and Sips is his show. He has he does that Irish
Whiskey Berry, Irish whiskey stories. Yeah, he travels everywhere.
Travels all the time. So he's the guy to talk to. He's been on the show. Check back for his episode. He brought some very special stuff as well from the Irish whiskey collections that he has. I just want to keep pouring that in there.
I know.
Let it drip out there. You know what I mean? You don't want to waste
what I was doing.
So I wasn't sure if I was going to be on the podcast. So it was pour 1 ounce pours, and it is an expensive bottle, but
for sure
my big thing is I really don't care how much gets drank as long as everybody enjoys it. But if
it's not one that you just leave on the table and then it's like, we killed it.
Like I said, it was nice that it was here because then I wasn't drinking it, and I knew you probably wouldn't drink it, you know. So I was like, man,
that stayed
keeping
in the book
it
bag.
here, was nice.
Yeah. Getting some shit for starting late. We did everything we could to try to get the internet going the best we could, and of course it's still not that way, so we just went ahead and did it.
There's an Xbox party going on somewhere around here.
Yeah, I gotta just cut the cables to the kids' houses around here. You know what I mean?
It's all the people living across the street.
All right, they're good people. They're my friends.
I know, but they have kids.
They also watch Tony. You want to man. Russian Judge is like just going over into everyday life at this point.
Ooh.
Bah humbug screws
If
over
you
here.
only knew.
Wow. Good. Positive reinforcement. So we've got the did you say what the cost of this bottle is? I'm sorry.
So I got it from Whiskey Exchange. So they ship it from Ireland all the way to here.
Wow.
And so you pay quite a bit in shipping, but it's hard to find it in the States. If you do find it in the States, you get it for like $550, $600. But like if you have to have it shipped, and depending on the price and where it's at, like you can pay upwards of $700, $750 for a bottle.
Wow.
I know people who've got it for $500, $499, $550, but it just depends on if you have to have it shipped, how bad shipping is. So I think this one was in the low sevens for me.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was
Well, thank
also,
you.
Yeah, I was gonna. You beat me to
but
it.
it was also one of those things where I didn't necessarily want to buy it.
Okay.
Like I didn't go out searching like I'm going to buy this tonight, but then I went searching for it and was like, if I don't buy it now, will I ever buy it? And so it was like,
Here we are.
screw it, you know. And then I think I had the 12-year and the 21, but I didn't have the 15-year. I didn't have the Lustau. I didn't have the cask strength. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go buy them all now. So I did a whiskey, trip with my fiance at the time, and we went and found all of them. So
That's amazing.
so also, there's a couple other ones that are missing, but they're the main ones. So you have a 12-year cask strength, so that's just cask strength, and then you have you can have a 32-year dream cask, which is insanely hard to find. Barry has I don't know how many bottles of it.
Of course.
And then there's another 32-year dream cask or 28-year dream cask. So, but once you get into the 27-year, you're starting to get around when Redbreast was like just starting. Not really just starting as a company, but like when they started making actual like labeled Redbreast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
32 years is like it's hard to find them. Yeah. So 27 is about the only thing you can find, and it's hard to find. So.
All right. What are we getting here? We're all sniffing
so
and swirling.
I always get like mango and like fresh fruit.
I can definitely smell that port barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And I went the opposite route. I know it's unpopular, but I have the rocks glass as opposed to Glencairn here.
It's what's the proof on this? Is it still like an 80 to 90?
Go ahead and take a sip,
I would
guys.
think I would know. 54%.
54%, so that'd be 108
proof, yeah.
So that's probably the strongest Irish that I've had that I can
So-
recall right off the top of my head. Because when we had Barry, and then when we also had Martin and from Bua, when we had them on, they were typically saying that most of your Irish whiskeys are going to run 80 to 90 proof.
Mhm.
They're just because barrel strength, that's more of a. Now that being the cask strength, 115. That
So the
makes
rest
more
of these are like
sense.
90s, and then there's 115.
Which is pretty typical. Yeah.
So pop quiz for anybody out there. How many milliliters is this bottle?
I feel like that's a trick question.
It is. It's not the typical 750, right?
Nope.
Huh?
Nope. They
Yeah.
take 50 milliliters.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
just
know why.
700, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. European.
I was very mad. I was like, I paid a lot of money for this bottle. And you're not,
You
I
paid
want
a
my
lot.
50 milliliters.
Where's my $2?
Oh, I love that movie.
So, Adrian, what do you think of this? I mean, since you brought it on here, and you said this of the lineup is not your top favorite, correct?
No. So
Okay.
21 is my favorite. And I think you'll see why. Because I think anybody I've gave Redbreast to who's had different ones had said 21 is like, holy cow, that's the best Irish whiskey
Okay.
ever. And you could be an Irish whiskey fan for Jameson or the Spots or, Tullamore DW. Like you have all those, 21 beats them all. 27 is just like almost like a different category. It's hotter, it's spicier, but it's got that same delicate, sweet Irish taste that you like.
Yeah.
But it's and knowing that it is just a special bottle, I think just puts it a little bit more in a different category.
It does.
And it just has that, it warms you in the most perfect amount of depth, heat, strength. Like,
So when I took my first sip, I didn't know what the proof on it was, or actually no, before I sip, but just on the nose, it smelled hotter than what I was expecting. And so when you rattle off that it's 108 proof, it's like, okay, that kind of matches with what my nose is getting. Like I smell the port, but I also get a lot of burn through the nose when I'm sniffing it. And that does come across a little bit on the taste as well. You definitely do taste some of that heat in the finish.
It's definitely warmer. It's got a nice, like you said, kind of. It's got that warmth going down there.
Yeah,
definitely like a nightcap type of a pour.
yeah. Ray was saying for Irish whiskey, including the shipping. Yeah, like for some reason, like you can find, like I've been trying to find. I think it was Red Spot on. So we have Green Spot and Yellow Spot. We're trying to get Red Spot. Red Spot's kind of hard to find. For some reason, the U.S. doesn't get a lot of bottles of it, or at least Ohio doesn't get a lot of bottles. So I found it on Whiskey Exchange, and it's not that bad until you add the $100 some odd shipping.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Okay, like I don't want to buy it now. Like for some reason, Whiskey Exchange is weird with their shipping prices, but I understand because they're coming all the way from Ireland. So
Right. Absolutely.
We had a guy from the shop. He used to go back and forth between home and Ireland for work, and he had picked up a bottle of Red Spot at the airport. And then as soon as he came back, he landed in Columbus, and the airport is a 10-minute drive from Tinder Box.
There you go.
So he came straight back to the Tinder Box, came in, hung out with us, and then after we closed, it was Steve, myself, and that gentleman. He's like, "Hey, I got some Red Spot. You guys want to try it?" And we just cracked it right there in the shop.
Barry Chandler, who we mentioned earlier, who again, Stories and Sips, he's the Irish expert, Irish whiskey expert here locally and even further. But he says 60 bottles of Red Spot coming to Ohio in October. So keep your eyes out for that as well, for sure. Barry, thank you very much. Any other comments you have on some of this stuff? Let us know.
Hey, I messaged you about that Blue Spot. I'm happy to see that you know that's coming.
Absolutely.
Blue Spot's the new one.
Yeah.
What's Red Spot run?
Hey,
like one.
We're drinking Redbreast tonight, guys. Can we?
There's
It's
red in
expensive.
there.
Yeah,
It is red.
it's Irish.
So Nate, what do you think about this? I'm sorry, I just got to get it back on track. We're gonna ramble off.
No, it's definitely got a lot more heat than I was expecting. I do taste that port barrel up front, and I have to keep sipping it because there's this fruit note on the finish. I know it. I just have to remember what it is. Like it's a familiar fruit note. I just got to remember what that fruit is. And so I just like keep taking little sips over and over to see if because my brain my nose remembers it. My brain's trying to remember the name of that fruit that I'm tasting.
So I can read the bottle, which is kind of hard to read, but vanilla sweetness and a treacle toffee. Is that how you say that?
Was it?
Treacle? I don't know. Never heard of that word. But cherry menthol, vanilla, cinnamon, sweet spices, red pepper, nutmeg, toasted oak. Just a lot of stone fruit, summer berries. Like I said, it's fruity.
It is fruity. It's interesting they say cherry menthol is one thing.
Cherry menthol.
Yeah. That's that kind of like citrusy, but at the same time it has that kind of warmth. It's almost like a
that's that Cherry Halls.
So Cherry Halls on steroids for sure.
Yep.
Cherry Halls that'll get you drunk. But yeah, I mean it's fantastic. I mean, it's very unique. There's a lot of depth there. Obviously, anyone that watches this show, especially like I can't list off everything that you just said, note by note.
Yeah.
I don't even know if like Barry, he's definitely got a better palate on some of this stuff than we do, but it's just there's a lot of complexity there. But I mean, I keep going back as a table here, like going back to the whole fact that it's like got that like fruitiness, very warm, very fruity. It's very pleasant. I mean, when you're looking at this, this is not the type of show, guys, that, we're going to break it down like they do on the bottle or, some of the other very, very, I don't know, particular shows. it's different.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I remember, so like I had all of them at one point another time, but then a buddy of mine, Paul, had the peaches. That was another one. Sorry, Barry just commented. But he let me try his bottle of Redbreast, and like immediately, having never had it and having just a little bit of a special occasion after car meet, you could like, it was one of those that you could taste a lot of the different.
Yeah.
Does B want some Redbreast?
Probably everyone does.
But yeah, you could taste all of the different fruits, and it was really weird because they always talk about the different tastes and all sorts of different whiskeys and whatever. This is one that I think I can pick out a lot of different flavors.
Yeah.
They are feet straightened up.
Yeah. So yeah, Barry says peach. Yeah, you said peaches, plums, cherries, and glass. Barry, wish we had you in the garage here. Is that he says also that Redbreast 27, one of the few whiskeys in history to get a perfect 100 score from the Beverage Testing Institute. One other was Pappy 20 as a side note. So we appreciate you kind of tuning in, Barry. Your expertise is
we're
always
need you
appreciated.
Stick around for the entire podcast so I don't look
as
dumb.
soon as he said peaches, that was it. That was the note I was trying to nail.
Yeah.
I tasted it. I just couldn't put my finger on it.
I can blame Barry for actually getting into Redbreast. So thanks.
I was going to say thank, not blame, obviously.
Well, I went to
maybe blame when you're spending $700 on a bottle.
Wow. I think it's worth it. If I could find it cheaper, I'd probably definitely buy it then. But
naturally.
But no, like I went to a tasting and he led, and Redbreast was one of them on the menu, and it was so good that I was like, yeah, I gotta buy. It was 12 year, and it's like,
yeah,
wow, like if it tastes that good, I wonder what the rest of them taste like. So,
well, thank you again for bringing it. I mean, it's got a, I don't know how it looks in the Glencairns there, but it's kind of oily, but a little light, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is oily.
Yeah, I'm using one of my favorite glasses here, but it's got a texture to it, so I can't really see it a whole lot. So I'm relying on you guys, as Adrian finishes his, to you brought it, man. You can drink whatever you want. You got very little. I got the most in my glass. That's the biggest glass.
You've been doing the most talking.
Not true.
Yeah.
You are the host. It kind of goes with the territory.
Fair enough.
I need to like
Bobby Crow says white peaches. Yeah, it actually goes fairly well. That's what.
Really?
And you have another sample there. You could just.
I could.
I mean, quick break from talking about that. We can talk. We're smoking the Oliva Connecticut Reserve. This is definitely a top selling blend from them. Not always the big praise winner, if you will, from Oliva, especially since the Melanio, the V. They've got a great lineup. As many of you guys know, Oliva is a Nicaraguan company, family-run company. It was recently purchased by a Belgian company, and just basically they, from my understanding, they kept the operation running pretty much as is, with the family running everything and the premium cigar side of it. But the Cortez Belgian company that was purchased them, they just really kind of had a huge checkbook, at their disposal. They're a very big operation, and it made sense, it seems. And the Oliva family is definitely involved in a lot of things when it comes to politics as well, trying to be an advocate in a lot of ways for the industry, among other things. I know they, as well as a lot of them, are, and we're not going to get into it tonight, but they are definitely big on some of the things going on in Nicaragua over the last several years. And obviously the whole industry is behind a lot of what's going on in Cuba in different ways. And it's very interesting to see how their response is. Anyone in the cigar industry that has Cuban heritage is responding to a lot of things going down in Cuba. I just wanted to highlight on that. It was just something that's very interesting that they're doing. You read posts from people in the cigar industry or people that actually have Cuban descent or family there.
Mm-hmm.
Very different from the other posts that are being made about Cuba and what's going on down there right now. I encourage anyone out there that's more into the whiskey side of it, kind of look into a lot of the issues down there. But with the Oliva family, they are very big advocates of the cigar industry, tobacco, and just overall trying to maintain or hopefully decrease, but it's always maintain and not increase regulations on the tobacco and the premium cigar industry. So having that big financial backing of the Belgian company that bought them out, it does, I think, help them focus on some of that stuff as opposed to some of the other financial restraints of doing things that they want to do.
And if I remember correctly, when they got purchased, the company that bought them basically went like, we don't want to change anything. Like, you guys just keep doing what you're doing. We just want to have you because you're a nice big black number on our P&L statement at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah, it kind of kept it as is, which is good to see. You always hear that, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
True.
Yeah. Report a little bit more of that 27.
Well, I drank all mine before I lit my cigar, and I kind of wanted to.
So what do you think? Did it change it? You've had a couple. This
is the first time smoking that cigar.
Yeah.
I'm a big infused guy. So I always come in and buy Islas and mints.
I wasn't gonna do a Java mint with the Redbreast 27. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
But
next time around we'll do infused stuff.
So I think that it's hard to put into words what it does to the beginning of it. I think the end of it still tastes the same, like the finish, but I think it definitely maybe spices up the finish even more. So, yes. Which is a good thing. I think it complements it well. There's no negative to it. It doesn't make it taste like, oh my God, this is amazing, but like it doesn't hurt it at the same time.
Yeah, I think it changes it, but also I think we are sipping further into the whiskey. So, the palate's been shocked a little bit. So, you have that, and then you introduce the cigar to it as well. I know it's you V-cutted your cigar. Is that right? Nice. We don't have many V-cuts on the show, which if anyone has any questions about that, we can always go over that stuff too. But I get more of a spice like towards the back of my palate as opposed to I'm getting that kind of warm sensation that we had initially. I don't know if you agree with that.
Do you get a creamy note?
So I think that's coming from the cigar. It kind of, when you say creamy, I was going to say, you get that
softer. It's
softer, but the fruit is still there in the. So I'm actually getting more. I don't want to say pronounced. It's not that warmth with the fruit, like the cherries and everything. It's actually kind of mellowed it out. So I'm actually getting truer cherry notes, and they were saying peaches and stuff like that. It's more fruity in a more subdued but balanced. So it's like more food like, even for me.
For me, I definitely like this. Once I lit up the cigar and then went back to this, those fruit notes at the front became a little bit more balanced. Nothing, I no longer got that peaches or tangerine or nectarine that people were saying. I no longer got that note as prominent, but it was still a little thicker texture, mouthfeel to it. But then that finish actually has a pop to it. Yeah. Like that finish
pop.
Yeah. Like down the hatch and there's like a delay. And then all of a sudden that finish just hits a little bit more.
What kind of finish you mean?
Well, just kind of that spice, that heat. Like there's a little bit of a delay now after I actually drink it, but then it just comes back a little stronger than what it did before I was smoking the cigar.
Yeah, I just got that.
See, when you said creamy, as I just took the last sip here, and now I'm smoking a cigar. Now I've got this. It sounds funny, I'm sure, to many of you out there, but it's kind of like cherry peach has that creamsicle, or like that. What's that? It's not orange, but what's the orange
cream?
Orange cream pop.
Yeah.
The soda.
Yeah.
It kind of has this like lingering effect of this. Like I just took a sherbet, whatever. Like I have that kind of just right here,
like an orange float.
Yeah. I always have to use
like that orange cream soda with
but more of
vanilla
that
ice cream.
Yeah,
God, that sounds good right now.
Which that's a good segue. At the end of part 1 for you guys, I know we started late, so hopefully you guys can stay tuned with us. But Adrian brought on a little special gift for us, and for those that want to pay attention, we're going to do it at the end of part 1. Then we'll disconnect with all you guys and get you guys back on for part 2. We're separating the streams tonight. Hopefully we'll continue to have good internet success. It seems like we're doing well.
The stream gods are on our side right now.
That's right. That's right. So what are we doing next while we get into this?
So let's go from 27 all the way back down to 12.
Okay. Well, you're the bartender here, so
Oh.
they're your bottles.
So I'll let you pour. You can pour whatever you
You
want.
said you're the bartender.
I pour which one?
Redbreast 12.
Mm-hmm.
So for those not too familiar with the Redbreast lineup, so the 12 is their youngest expression.
Yes.
And what's that start at in Ohio?
So I get it for roughly 60 something, 70 something at Kroger. And
Okay.
mostly I get most of my stuff at Kroger or Giant Eagle. If I come to Dublin, I'll go to Giant Eagle.
It's all the same price in the state of Ohio. We've talked about
Yeah.
that, right? So if you guys are new to the show, in the state of Ohio, we're a state-run liquor agency. So the prices are mandated by the state. So it doesn't matter where you pick it up.
It's
From a Ohio State liquor agency, which is a lot of times they're in the grocery stores like the Giant Eagles, the Krogers, and such. Even Meijer has them now in Ohio, and then also there's obviously the smaller shops as well.
mm-hmm.
But it's all going to be the same price, and if you see something that's different, they're going to get in a lot of trouble. I know that.
Yeah.
So everybody in the chat's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna grab an ice spear because I've had all these before and I like my whiskey kind of chilled. So
You have it.
All
I
right.
have ice spears.
You
actually.
brought them with you. I don't have a sphere. I got ice cubes.
Wait, no, he
I
brought,
would have
he
brought
brought
a,
the spheres.
that's the
I know.
yeah. I would have prepared something for you.
Nah, I'm good. So literally, he brought like a little cooler that has a Ziploc bag with a couple of frozen spheres.
Nice.
All right.
I wasn't sure how
He
many
came
people-
prepared.
Oh, well, yeah. I live an hour away, so I wasn't sure how many people would be here.
Yeah,
what
you
we'd
can't
be
just run back to the
doing.
house.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming out here.
The 12 year for me is,
It's Irish whiskey.
I-
like,
but
straight up.
it's not as brash on the nose as
No.
the 27 was. But again, it's coming at a lower proof, so
This one,
a little more floral.
yeah. I think it's more sweeter. You get that it's like single pot still, sweetness. It's
Yeah.
delicate, but
Definitely tastes like a malted whiskey.
I can't compete with Ian. He said he came from 300 miles.
It's all right. He came here for the zoo. This one says it's matured in a combination of bourbon and sherry casks. So I'm going to go straight since, again, we're not the experts. So save you guys some time if you guys are listening in your car, if you're listening to the audio, if you guys are just at home sipping on some Irish whiskey or bourbons. Obviously, it's Bourbon and BS podcast. So, we went Irish tonight. But this is straight from redbreastwhiskey.com. This is made from a mash of malted and unmalted barley and then triple distilled in copper pot stills. They say Redbreast 12 boasts the flavor, complexity, and distinctive qualities of pot still whiskey matured in combination of bourbon seasoned American oak barrels and Oloroso sherry seasoned Spanish oak butts. It says the distinctive Redbreast sherry style is a joy to behold in each and every bottle. Cheers.
Cheers.
Slanja.
Clinky. Clinky.
Clink, clink. Yeah, yeah.
It's not as fruity.
No.
Ray Cheshire asks, is there a particular reason for starting with the oldest and then going to the youngest? Yeah, we wanted to feature on a fresh palate the 27. That's simply the only reason we did that. Also, Adrian brought the bottles, so he's kind of in charge of, like I said, he's the bartender. But we wanted to, for those just tuning in live, we started with the 27. It's a very unique and tough to find bottle. We wanted to try it on a fresh palate. We even didn't smoke the cigars or light them up until we had a couple of sips of it. So just trying to do it.
Per whiskey tasting tips and tricks, you don't want to smoke before any. Now,
What if you're smoking all day and then you drink
Yeah, this
whiskey?
is true. but
What are you gonna do?
my whole thing was like, originally it was just going to be the 15 year and the 27, right?
Right, that was the plan, right?
And on my way up here, getting ready to come up here, I was like, yeah, I'll just there's only 4 other bottles that I have to pack up. Like,
Why
might
not?
as well. Like, but then for the pairing, like it'd be hard to pair the cigar with all of the whiskeys. That'd be a lot of numbers to keep track of. So
I'm the one with the spreadsheet.
so I guess for pairing purposes, pairing it with the 27 would probably be, because now that once we get through the rest of them, we can have another sip of the 27 if you want to do more pairing, or if you want to do the pairing before we get further in, so we don't lose sight of what the 27 was.
Wow. We can.
That's why I wrote mine down already.
Yeah.
Your brain wasn't coming up with peaches earlier. So, I mean,
No, because I knew we were going to have a lot of stuff to drink. So I was like, I'm gonna judge every single one of these.
well, I want to say right off the rip, though, that, again, picking the Oliva Connecticut Reserve tonight, the reason I did that is because, typically I've had some of the Redbreasts, so I kind of was trying to, think what would go well with what I recall from drinking some of the Redbreasts. And then also I think this cigar isn't going to overpower. There's a little bit. So when you talk about milder cigars, there's some that are just like almost airy. There's just not much there.
Yeah.
This one, again, it's milder, especially for Oliva, but it's got a bit of a kick to it. I think they do a great job. It's going to be an Ecuadorian Connecticut. So it's Connecticut seed grown in Ecuador, which they do for obviously the yield and then also just the cost. It's a lot. It's easier to grow some of that down in Ecuador versus in Connecticut. There's just it just makes sense for the industry, and then also Nicaraguan filler and binder on this one. So that's where I think the Oliva Connecticut Reserve is not going to be as mild as some of the Dominican heavy blends that are out there. I don't think it's going to be as heavy, or it's going to be just a hair stronger than even some of the Honduran blends. But they do a nice job making this a nice, well balanced and to the point of what I think we already talked about, and we'll get to that in the pairing a little bit. Is that with the 27, and I still get it with the 12, is that it brings a creaminess to it.
I think it does.
It's a nice addition for those that drink Irish whiskey, bourbon, and also smoke. This one, especially with some of the Irish whiskeys we're drinking tonight, it does carry through on the second bottle, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but it carries along some of the creaminess to the bottle.
Yeah, I agree.
With that cigar having as much Nicaraguan tobacco in it as it does, it reminds me more of the Elegancia. That's similar. Like, it's a light. Like, if you look at the cigar in a bin or on a box on a shelf, it looks like a really light cigar. You think it's going to be really, really mild.
So for those who don't know, the Elegancia is the San Cristobal Elegancia that's going to be through Ashton, made by the My Father factory.
Yeah, so it's coming out of Nicaragua. It's
correct.
They're both utilizing a lot of Nicaraguan tobacco, so it's kind of deceiving when you see it, because like if you put it next to, say, a Romeo Reserve Real or a Monte Cristo, like it's going to have a similar looking color to it, but it's got a little bit different strength to it because it's utilizing more Nicaraguan tobacco than those other blends are.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Those other blends are going to be utilizing a lot more Dominican tobacco, which tends to be just a little bit milder and smoother. This one, so if someone's looking for mild to medium, like not full mild, but they're kind of nervous about pushing that envelope to a medium-bodied cigar, like this is kind of in that middle ground there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you guys think of the Redbreast 12?
Well, this is probably my 5th bottle of it, so I love it. I like it because it's readily available. The Kroger and Bell Fountain only carries Redbreast 12. They don't have any.
They don't have the rest of the Redbreast lineup.
And it's honestly like I had to buy this one online. Got that one shipped from Akron.
Which one's that?
The Cast Strength.
Okay, so you Cast Strength.
That had to be shipped from Akron, from somewhere in Akron. I don't know. Which they were really nice because they shipped me this one and this one for no shipping.
Nice.
I don't know
so
how.
He's talking about, again, remember this is audio as well.
Yeah. So loose stout, the Cast Strength and the loose stout, which is the other sherry finish. Those were both. I had to source them from the internet, which were 75 and maybe 85.
So they're still right below 100.
Below 100.
The first 3 bottles here, which
is
the 12-year, the Cast Strength, which also says 12 years on it, and then the Lustau, which is a sherry finish, which we're going to get to as well.
And this one I was able to find at the Giant Eagle in Dublin, the 15-year, which was awesome because I wasn't sure if I could find the 15-year, and 5 different places that I looked, and I just happened to stop at that one, the one off of like right by Mag, and they had
off of Avery.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had like 7 or 8 boxes of it. And then the 21 and the Redbreast 27 were both Whiskey Exchange.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but like they
are available in Ohio, but
yes,
in very limited quantities.
Yeah. So I did find the 21 is available sometimes at the Giant Eagle off of Avery, and of course other places. But locally it's hard to find it like these small Krogers and everything.
Yeah.
But the Redbreast 12 being so readily available and at a decent price, like it tastes good, it drinks good, it mixes good. Like I'm an old fashioned guy. I love to make old fashions with every single bottle I buy, because it's one of those things. Every whiskey, doesn't matter if it's Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey, bourbon, like everything. I'll try to make an old fashioned out of just to see what it tastes like. It makes a good old fashioned too. So,
okay.
We can make an old fashioned out of any of these, really, if you want. So,
is that the plan at the part one
pick your bottle, make an old fashioned out of it, and the 12-year is just if you're not trying to look hard, you want to find a Redbreast that is indicative of all the other Redbreasts, and you can not break your wallet. 12 years your bottle.
I think the 12-year for me is more approachable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little softer on the palate.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a really good flavor, but it's not as complex a flavor as the 27. The 27 had a bunch of flavors, bunch of stuff going on.
For sure.
The 12 is a little bit more one-dimensional, but good. Like, it's got good flavor. It just doesn't have a great deal of different flavors.
Yeah. I mean, it still has a little bit of the fruitiness. I think it still has a little bit of that sweetness, but it has a little bit of the spice as well, right? I mean, so
cask.
Switching to the cask.
Yeah, I'm gonna start making smaller pours.
Yeah, I just realized that too. I might skip the cask and meet up at 15.
You've had them before. All right, so we're just gonna blow through the entire Redbreast lineup that we have here tonight.
Yep.
So now we are switching over to the 12-year cask strength, which you said is around what?
It's under 100. It's under 80, I think.
Okay. We can always verify that. So this is basically the cask strength, right? This is the what's in this bottle, but
cask strength. So there's also another cask strength, but I'm not sure of the age. So Barry, if you're still listening, correct me. But there is another cask strength out there that's not 12-year, and I don't know the age on it.
Well, I can look it up here. I'm just looking at it. Again, I'm staying on there. If you guys, some of the sites for some of these, you can always go to like the different reviews. You can listen to podcasts that are going to be people that are definitely bigger experts on Irish whiskey, like, again, Barry Chandler with Stories and Sips, and follow him on all the social media. We're just plugging him all night long because he is the guy here that we know, and he's been a guest and friend of the podcast. But I mean, this is going to be the same thing on here. The Redbreast whiskey, basically, they're just straight into the same description of it, except for it says, this gives a glimpse of the Redbreast 12, which I'm still finishing sipping on, in a natural, full flavored taste. So, Nate, how does it amp up for you a little bit there?
On the finish, it's got a little bit more. I get more notes of like charcoal.
Okay.
In it. So probably because it's been 12 years in a bourbon barrel, they probably refired it before they put this in, but I still get on the finish. I get a lot more charcoal on this than any of the others that I've had so far.
So,
but the nose is a little bit more complex than the 12 and a little bit more approachable on the nose than the 27. That even though this is a little bit hotter in proof, it was a little smoother sniffing it.
I'm going to go grab a Glencairn.
All right.
But no, it doesn't hit your palate like 115. Like for me, honestly, this drinks a little smoother than the 27.
So when I finally finished getting all of the bottles in my collection, I hosted a Redbreast whiskey, sipping party. It was like I think maybe 10, 11 of us or whatever. And that was the same, we reached the same decision that 27 was spicier, hotter, drank like a higher proof than the 115 proof cast strength.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sitting at 108 with the 27 and 115 with the cast strength. And I think at the same time, the Lustau, which is only what did I say, 92? Yeah, 92 proof. The Lustau is 92. That one, I think they said was even a little bit more spicier, hotter
Than the cask.
than the cast strength.
Well, that's my next one. So
that's a common misconception, I think, with the proof is that it's not always going to be the case.
No,
that it's going to drink hotter. You can have a very, higher proof, even something like the cast strength or the barrel proof, if you will. That are going to be even like the 120s. But you're in 115, 120 something. There are some that are not going to have that burn. They're going to be very well balanced. It's not always. I'm of the opinion that for those out there, it's kind of like in the cigar world as well. When you think full body, they're like, I don't want anything harsh. I'm like, well, you show me your typical Dominican mild cigar. That's the one that's going to leave a kind of a tough taste. Sometimes, not hit my palate very well. They do a similar thing, I think, with some of the proofs on Irish, Scotch, and obviously bourbons as well. The higher proofs sometimes will be a little bit smoother or well balanced, just the way that it's aged.
Balanced, yeah.
Well balanced.
I found that out recently. So I have a bottle of Booker's at home. It's the Sip a While batch from 2017, and it sits at 126.5, and that's hot. That's pretty hot.
That is hot.
I just recently started buying Wild Turkey products. I only bought one bottle, but I bought the rare breed.
Yep.
And Booker's, like, I don't drink Booker's because I like it. I drink Booker's in front of the party to be like, hey, try this. Like, it's a party bottle, and people drink it. And they're like, oh my God, that's so hot. That's, it evaporates in your mouth before you can drink it. The rare breed is almost the same proof. It's like 120, I think. And it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was going to be, similar to the Booker's where it was almost hard to drink. And it's not. I actually prefer it.
I remember that there was that one episode, I think it was like 3 years ago on the podcast, had the Booker's Backyard Barbecue. Now, granted, it was summertime, it was 90 degrees, but had the Booker's Backyard Barbecue, which I think was coming in around 127, 128.
Yeah.
And it just lit your mouth on fire.
Oh, you're also smoking the Oliva V with it, which is a full-bodied cigar.
When I drank that whiskey, I was not smoking the Oliva V.
Oh,
and it still lit my mouth on fire. Just cinnamon everywhere, and I couldn't taste anything else.
Damn.
Right? Either I need to get new detergent pods. Which it looks clean. It doesn't look like there's any like really residue or anything.
Got legs.
Yeah, so I switched over to a Glencairn fresh glass and drinking the cast strength. No. What do I pour?
Yeah, the cask.
Cast strength.
Yeah, cast strength 12.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No.
Or did you pour the Lustau?
No. Jesus Christ. Can someone run back the tape and let me know?
What did you just pour?
No, that's right. It's the cast strength.
I think you poured cast strength.
Cast strength. Yeah. But, I mean, there is just, it's holding onto the glass. Look at that, Nate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's true to so far the three that we've had. Like, on a Glencairn glass, like, they have a lot of legs. There's a lot of oil, a lot of viscosity to them.
Mm-hmm.
Different depths of that. But yeah, they
and that's I think that's one of the reasons why I also like a little bit of water or the ice sphere in it. Is some of the oils, like putting that water in it or whatever. It brings out. It doesn't make it worse or better, but it just brings out a cool new,
different,
turn to it. Yeah,
it does. As when we were on that one of the tours down in Louisville a couple weeks ago, she's like, let the molecules just run into each other for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let that water get in there and release some of the oils. Cast
strength it's definitely warm, but it's there's a difference in the product doing it, and this sounds obvious, but it's kind of cool to be able to do it back to back. Is going from the 12-year Redbreast to the 12-year cast strength. You're going to expect certain differences. I mean, it's warmer. It's not as light as far as the overall flavors. Would you say? I mean, you're still sipping on the 12-year, but I mean, off of your recollection there, Adrian.
I think the cast strength is 12-year with 25% more complexity, a little bit hotter, but you're not missing. Like if you just drink the cast strength, you're gonna know what 12 is. You're gonna know what the sherry kind of finish, but less. I guess maybe you don't get the fruits out of it.
You're not. That's I guess what I'm saying. It's not as like light and fruity.
Yeah. So the cast strength. I wish they would make a cast strength of all of the different ages. Just so you could be like, oh, okay, like that's what that tastes like, but here's cast strength. That's what But when you go into Lustau, I think I compare Lustau to a very cast strength of the 15.
Yeah.
Which originally, when I had the 15, bringing just the 15 and the 27, you'll find that the 15 is the best version of the 12, and that the 27 is the best version of the lineup minus the 21, but you just get all of it in the 27. The 21 is the king of all of them, I would have to say. And you'll see.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the reasons why I was going to just originally bring those two. But then when you miss out on the other 4 bottles, like you can actually see how it builds.
Yeah.
Where it kind of branches off. Just Redbreast, they know what they're doing with Irish whiskey.
Well, I think
they've probably been doing it for a couple of years.
So, history on Redbreast, I think it was like in the 1860s, 1880s, mid to late 1800s is when the family that started Redbreast started their wines. I think they started selling wines and everything, and maybe early 1920s, 1930s is when Redbreast, I think they started actually distilling their own whiskey, and then maybe like late 80s, 1980s, early 1990s is when they lost the business, or they kind of had to restart it, and that's when they started again with what we're seeing today with the 12-year, and then in the early 2005 they started with the 15-year. So like they've only been doing what we're drinking right now since 1990, 1989.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1991 is when Redbreast relaunched. Right. So you're right there with that. And then 2003, they had a big resurgence. Redbreast 15, which is not quite where we're at.
No,
launched in 2005. Again, guys, I don't. We can talk about it and save you some time, but I mean, it's like some of the redbreastwhiskey.com. I checked it out earlier. I went back to it while we're on the podcast. It's I forget which cigar company we were looking at. It's a very similar website where like the heritage is, it breaks it down by years. Do you remember which
was it? Padron?
It wasn't Padron. It was it was one of the ones where they talked about the fact that they obviously Cuban roots, and then they left there because the government took their land and everything else. But it's a way to break this down, so definitely look at it. But it looks like they were founded, the W&A Gilby. Were founded in 1857, officially. So very cool, very cool.
For me, this Lustau tastes a little bit more like a peatier Scotch.
Interesting.
Like not super peaty, like a.
I haven't even had it yet.
Not a Lafroy 10. Nope. Someone got me that for my birthday one year, and I've never drank it since. But then the next year, they felt like they had to make it up to me, so then they bought me Macallan 18 the next year. So
you got friends that buy you Macallan 18?
Well, it was my future.
Who
wife.
are you?
It was my future wife.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, cast strength's definitely a warmer expression.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you finally you done with that one then?
I'm done with that one. It was a bigger pour. I'm used
Remember, you
to,
have to
I'm used
drive
to
home,
just
so
drinking
yeah.
one. So yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. I got a couch you can crash on, obviously, for a little while if you need to.
Oh, that's good.
Good.
We do it after.
I don't want your new wife to be upset.
Yeah, we do it after the hours. Somebody sober me up.
Beyond the BS.
If anybody wants to deliver like Papa John's breadsticks to Steve's house, right?
There you go. Oh, yeah, that cast strength is it definitely packs a punch.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Definitely packs a punch. So you think that the Lustau, and we're gonna kind of roll through this. I'm looking at it here, looking at the time. We may not get through the next two. I don't think in this part one. We might do the ratings and move on to part two here after we do some cocktails.
oops. I was supposed to share this with somebody. I'm gonna share it with them real quick.
That's fine, man. That's fine.
How do you share it?
Lustau on the bottle says waves of soft ripe fruit and roasted almond,
Oh, the
With
share
fresh-
button.
fresh Spanish oak and sherry richness. So on the Redbreast site here again, says a unique collaboration between Bodega's Lustau and the Middleton Distillery. Redbreast Lustau edition is made from a mash of malted and unmalted barley, so and then triple distilled in copper pot stills, having spent in its final maturation journey in cask season with the finest Oloroso sherry in the Bodega's Lustau. The result is the ultimate sherried style of Redbreast, according to them.
Did they say how long it spends in that?
It doesn't on this, no. Again, I mean, their site is great. I'm not going to start playing. They've got intro videos for each bottle. I mean, this is
Gotcha.
a top-notch website. If you guys are looking at it, and again, coming straight from the company, so I mean, it's always something that you take it from there, you know, but it's not going to be a review site. But they give a lot of information, a lot of history. I like that. It's always good to see that. And you said this reminds you of what, Nate?
It reminds me a little bit of a Scotch.
What kind? Like, I mean, do you have a Scotch in mind?
No,
Okay.
nothing in particular. Just kind of the general flavor profile.
If I would have to put Lustau on a Scotch, I would probably do just either black Johnny Walker, not the double black, or almost like a Dalmore because of the sweetness.
Okay.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, second. Because I get that sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
We had Sean who was on last week. You know, he's saying something about the peatiness. I'm not getting peatiness. That's not the type of Scotch that I'm thinking of. You get peatiness?
Just a little bit. Not like something from Islay, but I definitely do get a little bit of that peat characteristic to it for me.
No, it's fair. I don't see that as much.
That's
I
fine.
don't taste as much. It is sweet. It's a little bit of fruitiness. Let's see what they say on here. Taste. That doesn't help out at all. Silky smooth pot still, assertive spices balanced with richness of the sherry finish, and contribution of fresh Spanish oak. It's like those aren't tastes. Those are. It is. That's actually more. Is that what it says on there?
Yeah.
I think they have like tasting notes on the front of the bottle.
Yeah, and I read that on that one. So again, it goes soft ripe fruit and roasted almond.
Cool. Like they can't tell all their secrets on the bottle because somebody might not buy it. But
All right, keep your secrets.
That one, honestly though, that one I that's a good sipper. It's not too, like they say spice a little bit, but they say silky smooth. That's more of a. It's a smoother one. I don't get a whole lot of heat from it. I don't. And again, granted, this is what our fourth sample. So here we are. I don't think that so it's not as fruity or floral, like lighter as like the 12-year. If we're comparing some of these, it is a nice step down from the 12-year cast strength for me. I think this is something
mellows
that
it out.
It's mellower. It's smoother. It's definitely I don't know what Sean's saying.
It's just hard charging.
I'm doing very small pours.
Yeah.
And then like part 2, I won't drink anything.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm. We got old fashions, dude.
And you don't have this. This one tastes. You say old fashioned. This tastes more like a heavy pour of a cocktail already.
Yeah.
If that's what I mean, if that makes sense. This is something that you get if you say to a bartender, you know what I mean? Say, hey, make me just a cocktail. A double.
Yeah.
But you don't even say that, but you get it. You're like, oh, that tastes kind of strong, but it's really, really, that's interesting. But then it goes away. It's kind of like syrupy, you know what I mean? It's got a nice flavor to it. Like, and then I say to them, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
And they just like pull out that bottle like this, just this.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, all right.
So I go to Walensky's a lot, and I get old fashions pretty much exclusively. And every once in a while, I'll get a bartender that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'll ask for a bullet old fashioned. Matt Leach, who doesn't watch this, but we call it the MLOF, Matt Leach old fashioned, and it's double cherry juice, the Luxardo cherries.
I feel like you need that with bullet.
And but it's so good. But this dude is really heavy with his pours, and he doesn't shake it up and like stir it like how the other bartender did.
Yeah.
And I know exactly when he's making them if I don't see who the bartender's who's making it, because when you taste it, it's you get that little bit of old fashioned taste, a little bit of the bitters, a little bit of the syrup, but it's bam, bourbon in your face. But you get that kind of old fashioned finish with it. That's kind of how this is. Like
that's what I was getting at. It's kind of like a cocktail on a glass type stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You're not expecting the sweetness because you're getting more whiskey taste to it, but then you get that sweetness finish to it. And you're like, oh, like there's nothing in this, but it kind of tastes like maybe there might be.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. That's really nice. And you're on the 15. While you sip on that, let's kind of get into the end of part 1. We're getting to an hour. I am happy, like for those that are watching, and hopefully the audio is cleared up completely. I know it wasn't that bad, but we did somehow. I don't know if the kids get off the games or whatever. Not my kids. I don't have kids. I don't think.
We do a quick pairing with the 4 that we've done. We do that.
Well, I was gonna say this is where we do the rating.
Hey, we're doing ratings.
There you go.
I'm learning.
Saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, this is where.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were going to do rating on just 27, but then we just kind of kept going. So we're going to do ratings on just kind of the meat, like kind of.
Let's keep it simple here. All right. So let's start if we can. Start with the cigar. Okay. Start with the cigar. This is if you guys are new to the show. I know I shared this to the Irish whiskey. What did they call it? I forget. Oh, there it is, right there.
Irish Whiskey Society or something.
Irish Whiskey Fans of America. That's the one that I know Barry's very heavily involved in as well. Barry Chandler, we've mentioned before. Oh, you're not using that glass anymore. Nice shot.
I couldn't have done that again if I tried.
I probably wouldn't want to, especially if there's something in it.
That is Asheville,
if
right?
You need, we can get you another Glen.
No, I'm okay.
All right, cool.
Wow. I didn't think
that was impressive, actually. Look, Mom, no hands. But so we do it out of 10. Typically on this show, we'll do 1 bottle, 1 cigar, and we'll do the pairing, right? So this is a little different. We've been doing this. We're 177 episodes in. We've had some last few episodes with Sean Anderson. We had 3 bottles last week. With Ann Dimmick from Watershed. Both great episodes, guys. Check them out. Ann brought a handful just 7. Like this.
I really want to try that.
Things.
The George, which one was it? What one did you buy? And then King Chambers, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to try that one.
Yeah, I've got a bottle of it at home.
Yeah, and I sampled out, and we were out of the other ones that she left here.
Yep.
Yeah, so we do have no Chino.
Yes,
we do have no Chino.
And we do have the rye and barrel 3 from last week when Sean was in.
That's right.
I've got that barrel 4 bottle at home.
Absolutely. But so the point is that normally we do it out of a 10 rating. 10 being the best, we rate the bottle, we rate the cigar, and then we rate the pairing. So there's typically 3 different out of 10 ratings. We go down the table here. So what we're going to do tonight, let's start with the cigar, and then I'll kind of guide it from there. So Adrian, like you said earlier, and I know this of you. Typically, you like a little bit more on the infused side. Which
I do.
It's funny with cigar industry. It's kind of, it's not where the whiskey industry is with it's like fully flavored. Some of them are. You like the Java Mint. You like the Isla del Sol, which is a very light infusion.
Mm-hmm.
But we're doing a milder cigar, which obviously I think also fits well with you as well. The Java Mint, I think, the Javas have a little bit more medium body.
Yep.
But out of 10, what do you think's going on with this Oliva Connecticut Reserve? And thank you, Tinder Box at Easton, for this cigar, guys. Check it out. Oliva Connecticut Reserve will be 15% off if you mentioned Bourbon and BS podcast. It's in Columbus, Ohio. But if you guys call in, you want some of the Oliva Connecticut Reserve, several sizes while it's in stock between now and next week's episode, 15% off. You can call in, email, social media, whatever. But if you're in the Columbus area, stop by, pick some up. Great everyday smoke.
So getting into the Oliva, which I'm going to oust myself here. Having not smoked too many of these, I always called them Olivias.
So that happens a lot. Olivia, we there's two ways you can handle it in the shop, right? So if someone comes in, whether if I know you or not, you come in, so, those Olivias are good. 9 times out of 10 anymore, I just roll with it.
Right.
I'm like, absolutely, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And then if you continue to butcher it, it's just like, absolutely. Sometimes you try to correct someone, or you try to, if I know you.
Oh, you want the Oliva? Okay.
Yeah. But it normally, again, on the same side of it, 9 times out of 10, if I say Oliva several times as you say Olivia, it doesn't register.
Really?
It doesn't, and that's fine. You know what I mean? So that's where it's like you just roll with it. Your retail, whatever, that's fine. A friend comes in, you're talking about it, it's like, oh, it's actually Oliva because it's a family name, and this is where it is. So go ahead.
So
the Oliva.
I've smoked one other Oliva before. It was the big box pressed one.
The Melanio.
Yeah. I really like that one. That was a little harsher, a little heavier, I think. This one. I'm a lighter cigar guy. I don't like that real harsh, real peppery.
Okay,
like,
peppery. Yeah.
So this one's very nice. It's not taking my taste buds and keeping them hostage for a long time. So like I can smoke it, drink something, and not, like knowing the taste of these. So smoking the cigar doesn't really change the taste too much,
right? That was the goal there. Yeah,
that was so good job.
Thank you.
So if I would have to, like I said, having smoked mostly infused, if I had to grade this one, I would probably put it at like an 8 point. I'm gonna do your ratings, 8.2.
All right, someone's got a drink out there. 8.2. Okay, on the cigar.
On the
now, hang on. We're just gonna do the cigar first, then we'll go down the roll.
Okay.
Okay. Nate, cigar out of 10.
7.
7. Okay. Why is that?
Well, so one, I like pretty much every other Oliva more than this one.
Okay.
But also when it comes to milder smokes, especially ones that have an Ecuadorian Connecticut, I have several that I enjoy a lot more than this one.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Andy's Mint. I'm reading the comments.
Okay.
Java Mint is an Andy's Mint.
So is that it on the cigar?
Yeah, I was gonna keep it short unless you want me to talk more.
No, I'm just asking. Just asking. The Oliva. So the Oliva Connecticut Reserve. Again, I like the company Oliva. I like everything they do for the most part, as far as like effort and what they have a smaller portfolio, which I can appreciate. Very consistent. The Connecticut Reserve, their mildest selection, in my opinion, that they offer. I'd give it, again, price I always bring in. So if those do the drinking game, price is definitely something that I look at. This on our shelf in Ohio with the tobacco tax is $7.95 for a Robusto. It caps out at we carry the Double Toro at $10.95. So this is a very moderately priced cigar, and I think it's compared to a lot of the rest of the industry where they're going with their pricing. This offers a lot of it, a lot of the creaminess. It offers a little more depth to it. So I'd give it a solid 8. I think this is a solid 8, which is what I would expect from a 795 Robusto. That I'm going to keep going back to if I want a milder cigar. And again, to the point that we've kind of touched on, and Adrian, what we were talking about, the reason I picked this is that I knew that of some of the cigars, and I don't think we've done this one before, this is one that I think that would carry through. It wouldn't be overpowered by the whiskeys that we're drinking tonight, but it also wouldn't ruin this amazing, what am I looking at?
Cardinal.
And the Cardinal just jumping in the driveway.
Yeah, we do it in the garage, all right? Don't worry about it. Other animals might come in here. My dog, Tony, might just break out of the crate and just come in the garage.
I have a story for part 2 about animals.
I give it an 8. I think this is a good. I don't know where that story would go with animals. You left that wide open. I think this is it's a great cigar. It's a good everyday smoke. I think this is something. Yeah, cool, bud. Again, animals.
Your front wheel drive car did a great burnout.
All right, you're gonna get in cars. All right, but yeah, so this is 8. All right, so with the whiskeys, I'm gonna bring this back here. Let's start with a 27. Okay. And then you can go into the pairing with a 27 if you want, or we can just kind of say 27 and then move through what we've drank so far. But I really want to focus on the 27 and then maybe how the cigar matched with that, or how do you think, as I've already mentioned, I think it's paired very well in a sense, in a matter of speaking with all of them. So
with the 27, being that it, I think, has the most complexity out of all of these, has a lot for your brain to handle when you're drinking just the whiskey. You know,
He's getting a 20. Are you ready? Is he allowed to do that yet?
Go ahead.
All right.
So with the 27, when you're drinking it, having not smoked any cigars, no palate construction, you're just tasting just the whiskey. There's a lot for you to handle. So with this cigar not being super heavy, super spicy or whatever, the cigar pairs very well with the 27, I think, because it allows you to appreciate the whiskey, especially when you're drinking a whiskey of this price. You don't want to, pour a bunch. You're only wanting to pour a little bit every time. Yeah. So if you're wanting to drink and smoke with this whiskey, you don't want something that clashes really heavily, because you want to appreciate the whiskey. It's a
dicey thing when you especially with the shipping costs that you have in that. And I'm going to look it up here on the OHLQ while you finish. But so if you're spending that much money on a very rare or tough to find bottle, you got to play it safe, in my opinion, of what you're pairing with it.
Right. So this cigar pairs, like I said, very well with it. It allows you to appreciate the whiskey and appreciate the cigar at the same time. You get both tastes. You can, kind of differentiate between the two. It doesn't change it that much. Like I said in the beginning, a little bit creamier. Mm-hmm. It pops, as Nate said, kind of pops the end a little bit. For me, it popped the beginning a little bit more. It made the beginning a little more interesting. The finish was around the same for me. So if I had to put a number on it, it didn't. It's hard to put a number on it, just because it's like you don't want to take away from the cigar of the whiskey. But I again, I'm at an 8.2, 8.5
for
the pairing.
Now, how about the whiskey?
The whiskey.
No, we're talking about the 27.
The whiskey itself.
What did you give the pairing?
8.2 for pairing for both of them. The whiskey itself, I would say, is at probably a solid 8.75.
Ooh.
Just because of well, I would put it at 100 if I was only drinking this, but not really comparing it to maybe like a bunch of other whiskeys. But like in the Redbreast lineup, I guess is where I'm putting it.
Well, you've already stated that the 21 is your favorite.
And I'm biased, but okay. I would say, like, just because it is, if I can make Redbreast 27 any more better, I think I would put more attributes of maybe the 12 and the 21 in it, just because it is a little bit hard to grasp how complex all the different flavors are, but that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be,
Complex.
Complex.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was probably a really crappy pairing. So if I get hit for it,
No,
I
that's great. Nate, how about you?
On the 27?
27 and the pairing. Let's just stick with that.
Oh, jeez.
What do you know, geez?
So
You've been on the show before.
I know.
I feel like you knew.
No, I know. I just don't want to say what I wrote down.
Let's.
The
Why don't
27.
you hand that notebook over to Adrian so he can hold you honest.
The 27 was not my favorite.
I feel like
Here,
he just
Adrian,
does
you
this
can take a
audience
look.
At this point.
No, if we got 27,
27, I have a 7.5.
What was it?
Just,
7.5.
just only because
I'm gonna chime in here real quick. So Elena,
Too
who
much-
we went down to Louisville with, she was hanging out with Abby from Bourbon and Blondes, right? So they sent me a video. I'm gonna show you after that. They were drinking, I think, tequila and smoking the diesel that we had given them, and they did a Nate and Steve review. Abby was you.
oh.
No, I don't like it. Go on.
Is that all she said? No, I don't like it.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. Now, the thing about the 27, while I do like the fruit notes that I get from it, the finish is very hot compared to the others. Even the cast strength, which is a higher proof, too hot in the finish. Even on the nose, it's hotter.
Too hot?
Just the amount of heat and spice on the finish, like the back of my palate, in the chest, just too much heat, especially for a $500 bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're going to bring price in, I mean, if I was really going to bring price into it, I think the rating would be lower. Because you could sit there and buy 8 bottles of Redbreast 12 for the same price as one of these.
Right.
It has a unique flavor. It's the only one that I really get that that has that what was the fruit the fruit note that I got. It was the only one that had that particular type of fruit note to it, so it was definitely very unique. But just the heat was a little bit more than what I was expecting. I was expecting just more of that creamy port cask type of flavor throughout the whole thing, and it's just not.
You don't get the creamy.
You get it just at the front, and then
Right.
it just kind of goes away pretty quickly, and that finish just takes over. As far as the pairing, I give the pairing a 7 because I think the Redbreast was better on its own. I think the Redbreast was better by itself before smoking the cigar.
Yeah.
Adrian, I want to thank you for bringing all of this, especially that Redbreast 27. I looked it up on the OHLQ. It just simply says not available from the supplier.
Yeah, it's not available on Whiskey Exchange right now.
Yeah, unavailable from supplier, but the price currently in the state of Ohio is $500.
Yep.
Okay, so which, by the way, any of our listeners that are in Ohio, this is the first time I've been on the OHLQ.com site, which is the site. They have completely upgraded this. Have you seen this? This is on OHLQ right now.
Oh, wow.
Really?
There's a search. They have
wow.
notes from the distiller. I mean, yeah, fantastic. So check that out. Even if you're not in Ohio, this is something that you can actually look up. They have great summaries already. So anyways, so this Redbreast 27, I'm going to give it a 9.5. I think this is something that, for a 27-year-old bottle, this, if I'm buying, and I was fortunate enough, I've had this before.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Fido Irish Pub and Restaurant in Easton in Columbus, Ohio. And the owner was kind enough to actually, when they first got it in, I was able to try it. So very, very small pour, granted. But very, very complex. We've talked about this. Very complex. There's like the fruit flavors. There's everything there. And you talked about the was it heat, right? Too hot. In the beginning, when we were talking about it, I remember that we were talking about the fact that it was warm going down, right? So it's not as much for me. It didn't hit me as like heat in a brash way. It was more of a very, if I'm going to drink a 27-year-old whiskey, I don't care where it's from, that has a little bit of a finish and something else, and also is a higher proof. I don't care what the price is. If it's a light fruity thing and doesn't have any of that, call it the Irish hug for you guys out there that always call it the Kentucky hug. If it doesn't give me a little bit of a warmth, why did I just spend that much on a shot? Why did I spend $500 to $700 on a bottle if it's just going to be this is like nice? You know, it just I expect a little bit of it's not bitey, it's not abrasive, it's not brash. It's very, very, like we keep talking about complex. We keep talking about, you have the fruity notes, but it's not this light fruity, easy drinking whiskey. It's a nightcap. It's a nice depth there. So give it a 9.5. I'm gonna give respect for it where it's due. I'm looking forward to sampling the 21, Adrian, based on what you're saying on it and how that outranks it. Obviously, again, that'll be the 6th sample. So love to try the 21 fresh like we did the 27, but I love that we're doing that. And then so the pairing, I thought, if you're going to drink a $500 to $700 bottle, you obviously would probably be like, all right, let's just get all in there. Instead of doing like an Oliva Connecticut Reserve, we're going to do like a Davidoff something. You know what I mean? Like you're going to go a very expensive, milder cigar. What I do like about this, again, on the shelf in Ohio right now, $7.95 cigar, drink or smoking that with a $500 to $700 bottle.
And it's good.
It fucking did well.
Yeah.
So I think the pairing would probably be, I don't know, 8.5, 9. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
It actually, like we talked about, it kind of made a little, it changed it, but it didn't ruin it.
Right.
So that's tough to do. So if we would have picked something with a stronger or spicier cigar flavor, it would have combated that, and I would not want to do that with a rare bottle like that.
Yeah, and like ending the bottle war with, sorry, I heard music. When you're spending $500, $600, $700, whatever on a bottle of whiskey, 27 year is a pretty high age.
Super. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
that's what I'm saying.
like looking at Pappy, and I know Pappy is just it's a lot of hype.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're looking at Pappy, like I had the 23, maybe I had the 15. I had one of the high ones. I think it was 23. It was good. Like definitely recommend if you can try a Pappy. That's really good. 23 years. It's still 4 years younger than this whiskey. And I know they're on different planes, and I know they're on one's bourbon, one's Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
But for $500-$600, you're buying a 27 year. It's not something that you're going to want to drink when you're already a good 3-4 drinks in. You want to have it semi new, like
I don't have that in my.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to, but it's and I understand why you said it's not your favorite. That's why I kind of also put this one in its own category. And that's why I put this one on top. This one it's on its own. You don't want to really taste it with the rest of them if you're trying to, pick your favorite. Do these 5 if you're trying to pick your favorite. That one is just like a specialty. I think just due to its just uniqueness. So when you're pairing it though with a cigar like this, I think picking a very mild cigar, allowing that to not hinder both the cigar and the whiskey.
Absolutely. And with that, guys, end of part 1 here. Either try to find these bottles or try to find some friends like Adrian. I don't know which is harder. I really don't.
Good friends are hard to find.
But Adrian,
good whiskey,
thank you
not
so
so
much. We're gonna do some cocktails.
Yes.
Is that still?
Yeah, we're gonna keep rolling once we get
a little bit,
right.
So we're gonna cheers to part 1. We're gonna do some cocktails in the intermission. Also, Adrian brought for our Patreon.com/Bourbon&BS podcast supporters. We've got some whiskey stones. Is that right?
Yeah, Williams and Sonoma. Sonoma. Yeah.
Whiskey spheres.
Yeah, they had a lot of different whiskey items and cocktail sets and stuff. And while I was picking up the cherries for tonight, I saw that and
So you are a Patreon member, so you actually can win your own prize. So you can either forfeit that or you can just take those home with you. We'll see what happens here. We'll have you pick a number on the patreon.com/bourbonbs podcast. Guys, I want to thank Tinder Box at Easton in Columbus, Ohio for the Oliva Connecticut Reserve. That is going to be 15% off, 15% off if you mention Bourbon BS podcast when you purchase that, either in store or if you want to call in. And we'll try to get you guys some of that product out there to you, mail it to you. Also, Altadis USA, I just cut and looking forward to smoking the H. Upman Hispaniola. That's going to be a great medium body cigar. I think, have we featured that before?
I think so.
When it first came out?
We
had Josh on. But great cigar. Check that out, Altadis USA. Thank you, Josh Bentley. We'll get him on here soon. Be a Cigar Company. I've got a silver sitting by. Golds will be back in stock very soon. And again, Adrian, thank you so much very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
And then we have to clear you a table here.
I was going to clear the bottles and set everything up right here.
Let's do it. All right.
It'd be kind of neat.
Guys, stay tuned. And for those of you guys that are, we're gonna rebroadcast part 2. This is a new effort that we're doing. We're going to end part 1, and then we're going to start part 2 fresh. And the topic tonight, if you guys want to listen in, I know we're on several different pages right now as far as groups. It's gonna know when it's right. Know when it's right. We'll learn a little bit more about Adrian because we are very fortunate to have him in the garage. So, guys, thank you very much, and stay tuned. We're gonna clear these off. It'll be a little chaotic at the end of this, and then we'll go live again here on the second part. But we want you guys to see what he's going to be doing here. This is very, very unique, and I'm actually going to probably do a little Instagram live here. So,
perfect.
Go ahead.
Cheers.
Get to work, Adrian.
What numbers are we picking?
Are we going to do
numbers now?
Patreon? Yeah, we'll do Patreon.
I didn't know. Yeah.
If you want to go ahead and start this,
Yeah,
I'll pull that up. Yeah, absolutely.
Just let me know how many, because I know what number I'm picking.
All right. He's carefully placing those. Just don't shake the laptop too much. We already had problems with that.
He was just zooming the label right into the camera.
I got you.
But I will agree with you, Adrian. That 21 was my favorite.
It's something about it.
That was that was delicious.
It's so good.
Guys, if you guys are out there, what are you guys sipping on? I saw that I put it up on the screen there as well.
Yeah.
Maybe a knife or a very sharp spoon. There we go. So, guys, we're doing something special tonight on the end of the part 1 here. And I know you guys might be tuning out a little bit because we're kind of having some dead air here. But we are doing some very fancy stuff. And then we'll rebroadcast here going forward. So, but we have these special whiskey stones, which for those that aren't familiar with that, the whiskey stones are going to be something that they're not ice cubes. You actually throw these. I assume it's limestone. Is that right? Oh, stainless steel. Shit. So these are stainless steel. And you want to pre-chill in the freezer for 3 hours, it says. And then at that point, obviously you want to clean them off, but, before you use them. But this is something that these are stainless steel ones. I've always seen the limestone ones.
Yeah,
don't let them hit your teeth.
Yes, they will do damage to your teeth and your glass. Don't drop.
All right. So you need to pick a number between 1 and 20.
21.
Well, we don't have 21 anymore.
1 and 20.
If someone else wants to be a Patreon member, next week we can pick that.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sean Anderson. Last week's guest, Ian Sean Anderson. You're the proud owner of the Whiskey Spheres. I can either ship them to you or we can just wait for you to come back on the show. But yeah, Sean, congratulations. Thank you for the continuing support. He is sipping. He did post on the Bourbon and BS community page, which was fantastic. That Bradshaw bourbon, and he's smoking a diesel at the moment. I'm not sure which diesel, but he's smoking that.
Yep.
What is going on here?
It's a
My
science lab.
Goodness. All right, so I'm gonna go to the Bourbon and BS.
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Are you gonna do it from here?
Yeah, I'm gonna make
Do
it
you
in
need
front
to
of the
move
camera.
anything?
Am
Am I in your way? Do I need to?
I was gonna say I can hold your mic in front. Oh, so for those that are watching, I wanted to give an update because last week when Sean was in town, he was talking about like if we were able to go back and see, because anytime we do ratings, Sean's usually one of those that he's like, has Nate ever rated something this high, or has anybody ever rated something this high? So I've actually started the process of going back and
Move these.
keeping track of what our ratings have been on whiskey, cigars, pairings, and all that stuff. Probably to no surprise,
You good there?
Yeah.
All right,
I've got
got enough room.
I've got the widest overall range in terms of like total point values.
Sure.
But so none of us have ever, neither you or me have ever, so as in 27 episodes that I've gone back.
Hang on a second. I want to hear about this.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Before you
Good.
continue, finish
So-
what you're saying.
So
and then I'm
so
gonna-
far, going back from last week to episode 150,
Yeah.
neither of us have ever given a whiskey a 10.
Okay.
I do know I have with the chicken cock rye.
Yeah.
But so far, neither of us have ever given a cigar a 10.
Is that right?
In fact, I think the highest you've ever given a cigar is a 9. And then I did, yeah, that works. I had a pairing that was a 10.
Okay.
And that was between you and me, that was the only one where we've had a pairing that was a 10. But yet we've had one guest give a cigar a 10, and we've had 4 different times where they've given pairings a 10
All right.
for our guests.
Fantastic.
Wow.
All right, Nate, I'm going to ask you to kind of go, not in front of that camera, but take the Instagram live here and kind of get some of this. So we're going to go live here on Instagram as well.
All right.
So
So
it's
we're
set up on the Bourbon and BS podcast. So yeah, if you can get kind of what's going on here. No,
Making-
don't go sideways because Instagram only goes vertical.
making some
Good.
15-year old fashions. So old fashions, I make a lot of them, and I've tried to perfect them to what I think the Smith & Wollensky's is. That's just my favorite one. So Luxardo cherries. If you make old fashions, use Luxardo cherries. The cherry juice is just the sweetest, creamiest, thickest. Just it's the best. And then you get that nice little treat at the end. So my old fashions, I like to do just like
You already put something in there already.
simple syrup.
So roses, simple syrup, you already put in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And normally I do granulated sugar or sugar cubes.
Mm-hmm.
But just for the sake of, I didn't have that at home, so grab some simple syrup. Just you gotta have it sweeten up a little bit.
You didn't even measure. You just kind of like tossed her in there, yeah.
Just a little bit on the bottom.
And now you got what is this?
This is just the Luxardo cherry juice.
Okay.
So we'll do about 2 spoonfuls of each, and then I'll do 2 cherries in each of the bottom.
Nice. Ray Chester says syrup, frowny face. You know what, Ray? You can't have one. All right. How about that?
Ray, I'll make you one.
Oh
You gotta ship it to Vietnam.
no, he has to come over here.
Yeah, just come over here.
Although he has invited me over to Vietnam and Hong Kong and everywhere else he's been.
I didn't really prepare any of this, so it's gonna
Move
be.
your phone here. You don't need
Yeah,
your phone
I
right
don't
now.
need the phone.
All right, you don't need that. I'll answer your calls. Put me to work here. All right, so now you're taking an orange,
An orange.
cutting off the end there. Yeah.
And then we'll do.
I have to wipe off the cutting board here, which is the table you're going to be leaning against for part 2.
Orange half.
Sean Anderson says, are these smoked old fashions?
Oh yes. they
And Ray
are.
Chester says, go fuck yourself, Steve. Just keeping everyone posted on what's going on the live feed. If you guys are listening on Instagram Live right now, or you check it out later, it's
We'll muddle everything.
got Adrian making some cocktails in between parts of the podcast. This is not the first cocktail. This is the first proper cocktail that has been made. I did one with Kylie Boudreau and Michael Herklotz, but I got they were remote and I didn't have any of the ingredients. So it was basically just a sugar whiskey. Is I think what I made.
That was with the absinthe, wasn't it?
Yeah. If you had it. Nicely done.
All right. So I have Woodford Reserve orange bitters.
Okay. Right. How many drops? Just a couple or one? Or?
Probably like 3 or 4 little ones.
Okay. Okay. Mix it up a little bit.
Mix it up a little bit. Get everything nice and introduced to each other.
I like that. Introduced.
Everybody's got to become friends before too long.
Some icebreakers going on, you know what I mean? Little elevator speeches going on, you know, everyone gets, you know,
Right.
get to know each other.
So then this is where I'll add the ice here. And I'll pour the whiskey over the ice here.
Wow. I don't say the most prepared guest, but you are definitely in the top 5 best prepared guest. Brings his own ice spheres.
Well, I noticed on one of the podcasts you had put ice in. I think one of your drinks.
Yeah.
Those ice cubes.
Well, you know, I've got them. I'm lazy, man. I you know, I've got a bunch of them. I even have some that are like skull shaped, and soccer ball shaped, and
it makes one. It's the Death Star.
There you go.
Okay, so to do this properly, I'll do 2 ounces of each.
If you guys can't see this, by the way, and you're watching the feed, pull out your phone if you're on your laptop, whatever. But we're doing it live on the Instagram feed as well for Bourbon and BS Podcast. Follow us on there, and Nate's doing the camera work on that.
So normally it drinks 2 ounces with a little extra. But my problem is every once in a while, I'll make these. When I say every once in a while, it's all the time. And I don't measure because I think I know what I'm doing. Most of the time I do, but it's after I've been drinking for a while. And my pours are a lot more than what I think they are. So
your 2 count pours are about 4 to 6 seconds.
Yeah. So
1.
The drunker you get, the heavier the pour.
2.
Yeah.
Are you gonna light my garage on fire? I mean,
it's there's gonna be a fire here soon.
I mean, but contained.
It's contained.
All right.
And then a little bit of bubbly. This is lime bubbly, which the lime's not really gonna take too much into it. Normally I use any bubbly. Just kind of add just a little bit of fizz to it.
Splash.
Yeah. And then now you guys get to choose your wood. So I have maple, apple, and cherry.
Each do a different one.
I'm doing it. Okay.
No, because he's doing the right.
Yeah, we can do different ones.
All
That's
right.
fine.
I was gonna keep it simple since we have the rest of the show to do here.
So maple, apple, or cherry, Steve.
I'm gonna say maple.
Maple.
Yeah, let's go with maple.
All right. So my wife made these awesome little jars and like made the name.
Very nice, very
They
nice.
actually just come in these ugly little.
And what are you putting in here?
Just
No, I mean like what do you?
So this is like when you light it on fire, it's a vacuum and it blows it
Okay.
into the container. I'm gonna do maple too, or maple. I like maple. I was gonna do one of every bit, but maple's just perfect. So we'll put mine and Steve's in here.
Well,
Now this smoker, you can smoke meats, you can smoke drinks, you can smoke all sorts of different stuff.
It's very classy. It's chrome and
there.
anything you want to smoke.
Not like that, or it turns on. You want to make sure there's no kinks because sometimes it does. There's a kink.
Do I need to stand back here?
No,
Or
it'll be good.
I feel like I'm like a morning news show. That I'm just like. So you can see it on the feed at the end of part 1 here, and I think on the Instagram is that there's definitely smoke going in there. So this is different than I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I can smell it.
Just yeah. I mean, he's lighting wood on fire. So how long do you let this sit in there?
Between 15 20 seconds, 30 seconds. If I'm drunk, I'll let it sit in there for like 2 minutes. You can't drink.
Do you forget about it?
I did one time.
Okay. What's that smell, honey? Honey, what's that smell? You were making a drink.
Yeah. I
Shit.
think there might be a kink in it, but it's not that bad.
Is like dangerous?
No, like sometimes you.
Oh, you're saying it just won't get the smoke in there?
Crazy smoke, but that's enough smoke to.
There's definitely some smoke going on in there. I mean, you
Oh,
can see it on the camera even right there. Yeah. There's definitely some smoke going on in there.
So.
And that's it, huh?
Yep.
Watch the. Oh, baby.
It's really cool when you open it up on that side, facing everybody.
But you're seated, and
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
And then, Nate,
I was gonna do cherry.
Cherry. All right.
So, but you have to empty that, or
Yep. So all you do is just this kind of plugs off, and then you can just go dump it out. Okay. Plugs right back in.
now where'd you get this the smoker unit, the vacuum
I
thing
think
here?
this came from Williams and Sonoma. Sonoma. I don't know why I go there.
Sonoma.
Sonoma.
Not that many M's and N's in that one. Yeah.
And then
So Ray Cheshire asked, "Isn't it better to smoke it before you add the ice?" And now you had said that you wanted to pour the whiskey over ice.
Mhm.
So
I've done both, Ray, and I mean, I don't smoke them all the time, so I don't necessarily know the best way to do it, just because it's a lot of work to get this thing out and use it all the time.
I mean,
So
it's gonna melt in the whiskey anyway, so it's not
this
like
one is yours.
smoke is gonna.
Trey.
I'll open it from my side. Just take it right out.
There you go.
Bourbon 614. Yes, I did have to be difficult. Ready to go, or do I still wait?
However long you want it to sit in there. I mean, it's been 20, 30 seconds already, so.
All right.
Walk back in. It's silent. Ray Cheshire says, "No shit. It's a lot of work. You should have just had Steve Crane blow smoke all over it. That's what he's good at."
Wow.
Oh, sorry, you got some cherry juice in your finger.
It's all right. Not the worst thing I've had. My hands.
Ray's gonna Ray.
No, I love it. I mean, he's absolutely right. Mostly when it's directed towards him. What do we call this? Just an old fashioned, or
Old fashioned.
Smoked old-fashioned.
Smoked old fashioned. Where's yours? Oh, it's right there.
so we have a garnish on there of an orange and one of the
Oh,
cherries.
the cherry, yep.
For anyone, those guys out there, I'm not going to share the part 2 to all of the whiskey and the cigar pages. So I encourage everyone to follow Bourbon and BS podcast, join the Bourbon and BS community page, because I'm going to try a little experiment. I might actually share it later if we're not seeing a whole lot of traffic, but I want you guys to share it and like it and review it. But I want to see if we can really kind of build the differences between part 1 and part 2, and to also have people stay tuned for some of that stuff without just, people tuning out. So here we are. Let's you want to take a sip? Do we have to put
Yeah,
the
we're
garnish
ready.
in there? You
Nope.
just
We're ready.
take a sip.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Adrian, thank you. This is awkward and cheers with all that fruit on there.
Now you will want to stir it eventually, as it settles and everything. But
Yeah. Here we go. It's a good old fashioned.
What was nice about leaving that garnish on top of there is as I'm getting ready to take that sip, I can smell that orange right there in front of my nose.
Yeah, so I had that too, right? So
Yeah.
it livened it up pretty well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Adrian,
All right.
thank you very much. All right,
welcome.
guys, everyone out there, we're going to, and for those on Instagram Live, if anyone's listening to this now or in the future, we are going to go part 2 on the Bourbon and BS on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So stay tuned. We're going to be sipping on these cocktails and get into the topic tonight. Know when it's right.
Right. All right. I'm
Let's
gonna
do a little cleanup.
Yeah. Do a little cleanup.
Yep. Anyone?
At one point we had 4.
There we go. Hold on.